Hi, everybody, and welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Greta, and I'm the dietitian at John Stoddard Cancer Center. So I have another great recipe for you, and each time I try to present a tofu recipe, something different. I know a lot of us aren't familiar with cooking with tofu. This recipe I originally found was for a grilled tofu, but I had a lot of marinade left over, and I thought, what can I do with that? So I've sort of transformed this into a two-in-one. So it's going to be a grilled tofu with stir-fry vegetables, and we're going to repurpose the marinade for the tofu. So I've got right here a package of Firmus tofu. This one is actually local tofu. This is made in Iowa City. Tofu, the nice thing about it is that it's very inexpensive when we compare it to meat. A package of tofu can be just a couple of dollars. It's very inexpensive. But it does come with quite a bit of liquid on it. And if you'll see on the bottom of my bag, there's quite a bit of liquid there. So we don't want all that excess liquid. So I'm going to take my tofu out. It comes in a block. And I'm just going to use some paper towels. You can also use a clean kitchen towel if you want to. And I'm just going to kind of wrap it up in here. The nice thing about the Firmus tofu is it has the least amount of liquid in it. And I'm just kind of squeezing out the excess liquid. It's kind of like a big sponge. You can also, if you want to, if yours has a lot of liquid, put the paper towels around it and put a weight on it and help press out some of that excess liquid. Mine isn't overly liquidy, so I'm just going to pat off the excess, and it looks pretty good to me. All right, so we're going to slice this because we're eventually going to grill it. So I'm going to put my block down kind of horizontally like this. And I'm going to slice it into about 1/2 inch thick slices, just like that. And then I need a dish that I can kind of lay them all in so that I can pour the marinade right over top of them. So I'm just laying them in this dish. You can also lay them down in a Ziploc baggie and then lay it flat in your refrigerator. That would work too, and I do that quite a bit when I'm marinating. These I'm just kind of layering in one layer in my dish, just like that. I've got one extra guy. He's going to kind of prop up like that. Okay, so now we're going to work on the marinade for our tofu. And we're going to start with some garlic. So I need about 2 tablespoons of chopped garlic. So I have a whole mess of garlic cloves here. My garlic cloves were really tiny, so I have quite a few of them. So I can't even say, well, just use, 3 garlic cloves. Mine were really small. I'm using all the extra bits that are in the middle. So I'm just kind of chopping this up nice and fine. So tofu is nice because, like I said, it is kind of like a sponge. It will absorb whatever flavors you add on top of it, making it really versatile. By itself, it really doesn't have much of a flavor, but it will just soak up whatever you combine it with. So we're going to add lots of flavors on top of it, and it's just going to be absolutely delicious once we grill it. So it is a grilled tofu recipe, and getting into the warmer months, I know a lot of us like to get our grills out, and the nice thing about grilling vegetables is that they don't have the carcinogens that grilled meat has, so we can safely grill vegetables without the concern of the carcinogens that are formed when we grill meat, especially when we char meat. If you want to make this recipe in the wintertime, which right now it is spring, but it is snowing outside, so I will not be going out to my grill. So you can actually just grill this in a hot pan. I'm actually going to grill mine in a cast iron skillet, or if you have a grill pan that you can put right over your burners, you can do that as well. So this is about 2 tablespoons of garlic that I'm kind of chopping up nice and fine. Doesn't have to be too small. It might seem like a lot, but remember, we're going to repurpose this marinade and use it on our veggies as well that we're going to stir fry. All right, putting these aside, just like that. All right, next is our ginger. So ginger, when you get it fresh, kind of looks like this. I know if you're getting ginger in your bin, it's going to look like a ton, but we're actually going to use it for several recipes. Now the peel on the outside, it is optional to remove the skin on the outside of your ginger. It is edible. You can eat it. I think it's a little bit tough. I don't particularly like it. I do remove mine, but if you're like, I don't really want to, that's fine. You can chop it up, and it is totally edible. I don't think it's terribly pretty. I like the pretty part on the inside. All right, so I'm just kind of peeling it down. I'm using a paring knife. You can use your vegetable peeler too. That works really well. We want about a tablespoon of chopped ginger. I really like chopped ginger, so whatever it says, you can count on me to probably add double of what it says. So I'm gonna do a couple of nice chunks. Fresh ginger also will hold up in your freezer. So if you feel like you have a lot and you aren't going to use it right away, you can freeze it and then repurpose it later, which is totally fine. A couple nice chunks. I'm actually going to do this last chunk as well. It's a little tricky to peel ginger because it's very knobby, nubby. So just do the best you can. Like I said, if you miss a piece, it doesn't matter because it is edible. Kind of like the skin on an apple or a pear. You absolutely can eat it. Or a potato. It's kind of the texture of a potato skin. Okay, and now we just come through. It is a little bit tougher than chopping garlic. Ginger is quite fibrous, so it takes a little bit more effort to chop through it. And then I'm just going to come back through the other way. And it's kind of why, too, I take the skin off. I feel like I can chop it a little easier without the skin on. You don't have to chop this up too fine. I feel like a nice little bite of ginger is not a bad thing. So you may not feel like you need to chop it quite as fine as you chop your garlic. But we want to get all of our tofu really well coated with all of it. All right, I'm going to finish chopping my ginger, and then we're going to go over to the stove, and I'm going to show you how to put the marinade together. Okay, so we're back over here. We're going to put our marinade together. So I have 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil kind of heating up in my saucepan. Canola oil is a good option too. I don't recommend the olive oil for this. We're going to cook our tofu at a really high temperature. So I prefer a vegetable oil for this. So my oil's nice and hot. I'm just adding my ginger and my garlic. And this step does not take very long. We just want to get it just a little bit softened until it's just kind of fragrant. Let me turn up my burner just a little bit. I can already smell the garlic. It's only been in the pan for about a minute. We don't want to burn it, so you don't want to cook it too hot. We just want it to kind of soften down a little bit. All right, that looks good to me. All right, so now we're going to add some more flavor to this. We're going to add about 1/3 cup of low sodium soy sauce. And that's actually going to be our salt for this. We are not going to put any additional salt in this. I'm also going to put about 1/2 teaspoon of pepper in this. Again, that's going to add lots more, bring out more of that flavor. And then this is optional, but I did it the first time I made it, and I thought it really did help. This is turbinado sugar. This is actually sugar in the raw, and it kind of makes a nice coating on the tofu then. So it's about 2 tablespoons. You absolutely can skip that step. And then we're going to add just about 1/4 cup of water. Now all we need to do is heat this until our sugar dissolves. If you're not using the sugar, You really just add it till everything's sort of heated through and nice and hot, because we want to put this hot marinade right over top of our tofu. All right, my sugar is dissolved. I'm going to step over to my tofu, and I'm going to take this hot marinade and I'm going to pour it right over my tofu. So this is definitely a make ahead step, because optimally we'd like this to marinate for about 6 to 8 hours. So you could put this together in the morning and then come back and make your dinner at night. If you can, flip it about halfway through. Mine's pretty well coated other than this one piece. So I don't know that I really even need to have to come back and flip it. So we're just going to make sure that we have a nice tight sealed lid on this, or saran wrap. We're going to put this in the refrigerator, and then we're going to come back and work on our veggies. Hi everybody, welcome back. So my tofu is in marinating, so I'm going to get working on my veggies for my stir fry. So the really nice thing about stir fry is it's a great way to use up whatever you have left over in your refrigerator, because you really can't go wrong with the combination. But it's also a chance for you to use some of your favorite veggies. So this is, you can use your own artistic freedom on this one. I reached into my refrigerator and I had some peppers and I had some bok choy. This is great with broccoli, cauliflower. You could do spring vegetables. You could do asparagus. Really, any veggie that you like in your stir fry, go for it. I will say any tougher veggies like carrots or even celery, those we want to make sure we cut them into a little bit smaller pieces, because they take a little bit longer to cook. I'm going to do red onion because I love onion in my stir fry. So I'm just slicing my red onion into about 1/2 inch thick size slices. So this is a stir fry, and if you think about the size of the veggies you get, if you went out to eat and you ordered up some stir fry, they're not very small. We want to keep them into pretty good size. I have a bowl here, excuse me, it is an 8-cup bowl. So I want about 8 cups of whatever kind of chopped veggies you like. So this is a way for me to measure to make sure that I've got just the right amount. This was a giant red onion, so this is going to add a lot to my bowl here. But I always say the red onion is about one of my favorite things in my stir fry. My other favorite thing is red pepper. I love red pepper in stir fry. I love any kind of pepper in stir fry, honestly. But red pepper is probably my favorite. So this one, we are also going to slice, not too small. We want them into good sized pieces. This is my pepper trick. I just kind of cut around the core. And then that saves me some time. Look at that. Because when I'm done slicing, all my peppers, seeds are in one big chunk, and I can get rid of that in my compost bowl. And then any extra seeds, I'll just tap in there. All right. So let's slice through these. I'm going to go this way. And again, not too thin, but thin enough that they're going to cook in about the same time as my onions and the rest of my veggies that I'm doing. Just like that. About 1/2 to 1/4 inch size slices. Chop that one in half. I think the first time I did this, I did broccoli and red pepper and onion. It was delicious. Springtime, sometimes you can get broccoli rabe, and that would be great. Like I said, asparagus would be great in this. And that's so readily available in the springtime. All right, there's my red pepper. The last thing I'm going to add, because I always like to have something green, I am going to do bok choy. So this bok choy is huge. So bok choy you can either buy very small or very big. I have the big bok choy, so I might only need one. So the bottoms, I'm just going to slice through like this. They're kind of the texture of celery at the bottom. The greens, they're very mild. It's a very mild flavor, so it's great to take on to flavor your marinade. We are going to add the greens too. They're absolutely great in your stir fry. And I think once I get through all of this, that's going to fill up my bowl. So we are going to come back in just a little bit, and we're going to work on stir frying up our veggies and get our tofu out and grill that. I'll see you in a few. Hi everybody, welcome back. So I got my tofu out of the refrigerator, and it is perfectly marinated. You can see it's got a nice dark color on it from all that beautiful marinade. So I'm just going to remove my tofu from the marinade, and I'm going to put it on a plate right here because we're going to use all of that marinade as our sauce for our stir-fry veggies. The best part about marinating the tofu is that we can repurpose the marinade for another piece of this since it's all vegetable. All right, so I'm going to set that aside. Then I'm going to take this marinade, I have a measuring cup right here, that I'm just going to pour it into. I'm pouring it all out. All right. And then to that, I am going to add some cornstarch. So you know how a nice teriyaki marinade has kind of a nice sort of thickened sauce? So this is going to help thicken our sauce to coat our veggies. So I'm just adding 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, and I'm going to stir that all together. Don't worry too much about lumps and bumps. It will all kind of dissolve and thicken it when we heat it with our veggies when they're done. All right, so we'll set that aside. That's ready to go. And we'll be right back, and I'm going to show you how to grill your tofu. Okay, so we're over at our stove now. I have one pan right here. This is sort of a cast iron pan that I'm going to grill my tofu in. You absolutely could do it on a grill or in a grill pan. I have this pretty nice and hot. It's kind of at a nice medium high heat. And I'm just going to set my tofu in. I just put enough oil in the bottom just so that they wouldn't stick. I'm sorry, they're going to be loud and sizzly. These are only going to take a few minutes on each side. We'll let them go. I've got my other pan going over here, also at a nice medium-high heat. I added just a couple teaspoons of oil to this pan. And this, remember all our veggies that we chopped earlier? I'm just going to throw those all in. So for stir fry, you want to cook at a nice high heat. So both of my pans are on a nice medium-high heat. Look how colorful all those beautiful veggies are. All right, so I'm going to let these start cooking. I'm going to come right back in just a few minutes and show you what it looks like when everything is cooked. All right, so my tofu cooked for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side. You can see them now. They're this beautiful sort of golden brown color. And if I flip it, you can see they're nice and golden brown on both sides. They've firmed up really nice. They really don't take very long to cook at all. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these and put them on a plate while my veggies keep working. So I will come right back in just a few minutes and show you how to finish up those veggies. Okay, so my veggies are all really nicely cooked. They're nice and softened, but they still have a little bit of crunch to them. I like mine to be just a little bit al dente. I don't want to overcook them. They're ready to go. So I saved all those beautiful green tops off my bok choy. No need to waste those. I didn't want to put them in with my rest of my veggies just because they only take about a minute to cook down. So I'm just throwing them in now until they just sort of wilt down. Beautiful. Always room for greens, right? All right, so now they're just starting to wilt down. I'm going to go ahead, that beautiful marinade I had saved, I'm going to pour that over top with all that garlic and ginger. It's going to flavor up all my veggies. And since we added that cornstarch, it's going to get nice and thickened as it cooks. So we're going to give this just about 2-3 minutes until that sauce starts to sort of simmer up and thicken. And then we'll come right back and show you our final product. I'm back and dinner is ready. So I wanted to show you our final product here. So we've got our grilled tofu, is beautiful, golden brown. We've got our stir-fried veggies with this delicious sauce that has thickened up, so nice. I've got some whole grain brown rice over here that I'm going to serve mine with. So just a serving of the rice in the bottom of my bowl, just like that. And then some of these beautiful veggies right on top. Looks so good. Get a little of that extra sauce in the bottom. And then we just top it with our piece of our grilled tofu. And we've got a beautiful dinner. So thank you for joining me again today, and enjoy.